Hello everyone and welcome back. This is game 2 of the series between Ta and Madness. Ta has chosen the map now, and I have to say I'm not disappointed to see Rice Fields this time because we haven't seen it in a while. We haven't seen a good rush map in a few matches, so I'm not too disappointed to see Rice Fields. It's a nice little change of pace. I mean, it's not like I have anything inherently against Rice Fields. It's just, I feel like flat maps are a little overplayed, but we've seen some pretty interesting map choices lately, so it's alright to go back to Rice Fields and just sort of relax and watch a rush map. Now, it's pretty interesting about the setups here. They're a little strange on Ta's end. Not much infantry at all, and what infantry he does have is mostly spears. It's got Naginatas and Yari Ashigaru. Those Naginatas being both monks and samurai. And we're looking over here at Madness, and he's brought a nice Yari spear wall up in the front with some spears and sword support. So he's just going what looks to be entirely infantry for this battle. We don't see any cavalry except, well, there's just one great guard here, two great guard. That might be it. No bows. We see one bow over here for Ta, and two matchlocks with a bunch of cavalry supporting. So this will be pretty interesting. It's going to be down to Ta to get through these spear walls and use his cavalry to effectiveness, because there's no way his infantry is going to be standing against this massive infantry force of Madness. It's just all going to come down to Ta's micro in this one. And of course, Madness will have to defensively micro as well. And those matchlocks got a nice shot off, killing 11 men there. So down to 49 here in this great guard. So I have to kind of conserve that. And I think if I were Madness, I would realize that I have a big infantry advantage here and conserve my cavalry for anti-cavalry duty. Of course, being great guard, they totally destroy cavalry. So why not just save them to help deflect the only thing that'll hold the battle in Ta's favor. But he does have, actually he has some bow cavalry as well. So two bow cavalry and a bow samurai. The matchlocks could do some damage too, but it looks like a Naginata samurai over here is going to be able to chase him off. Oh man, just devastating with those shots. Killed almost 40 men so far. But it looks like in the end the Naginata samurai are going to make it, unless, oh man, these matchlock Ashigaru are a little slow-footed getting off the field. More matchlocks coming here. Has to try and keep his composure here, Madness does. And just don't let the matchlocks make you panic and go into an early engagement, because it's all going to be about keeping that formation. When you have these big infantry blocks, you have to keep your formation. If you open up any holes, you really open up your whole line to be flanked by cavalry. And with all this cavalry that Ta has, that's a serious danger. And probably the only way that he can really lose this match with such a big infantry advantage. Like I said, maybe panicking a little bit. This Naginata samurai over here is taking quite a bit of damage. He's at 77 men. And I think he was being targeted by the bow cavalry, but they're all pulling back. Interestingly, Ta taking a skirmishing approach. Maybe if I were Madness, I'd back off and get the shrine and the workshop, or not the workshop, the farmhouse and the archery dojo, and just capture some buildings. A katana cavalry is running around now for Ta. And we'll see what he's going to try and do. Looks like the Naginata samurai, oh man, they're going to take some serious morale damage from being shot into by those matchlocks. And there goes one Naginata samurai, and he doesn't have a whole lot of infantry to work with, so he is going to have to be careful. Yari Ashigaru here is moving up to engage the Yari Ashigaru of Ta, but a little far from the general. Madness won't get the better of that engagement. Matchlock samurai finally chased down by a great guard, but like I said, he's going to have to be careful about his cavalry usage and don't waste too much in this early action, panicking going against matchlocks. Maybe Ta here is going to go for Madness is going to go for the enveloping action and just try and surround Madness and take him out and hope his spears can ward off the cavalry. But that might be exactly what Ta wants. If he can get him surrounded and dedicated, his cavalry will pretty much have free reign over his rear. And that's something you definitely don't want to happen to you, especially in prison. And like I thought, or at least what I thought would definitely hurt him, his infantry is just getting split up into little chunks. That's very dangerous. Cavalry can just come in at any second now and just take out these chunks one by one because they have no dedicated spear support helping them out. I think you really had to keep that infantry line compact to end up winning this one. With the big infantry blocks, you really got to keep them together. Katana cavalry running through and maybe going into the Katana samurai. Probably the best chance for them right now. The Great Guard should clean that up fairly easily, but yeah, this chunk's dying to the matchlocks. And look at this, his cavalry for Ta is just being kept mostly in reserve. They're finally starting to surge out. But I don't think it's good for Ta here to be waiting around, because I think he will still lose this infantry battle, even though it's not going as bad as maybe it should be going for Ta. He's still going to have to be careful. Great Guard here is maybe looking to just be a vortex to suck in as many units from Madness' line as he can in order to open up to other cavalry. But no, looks like they're going to try pressing on through and taking out the chunks one by one. But regardless, this will be close, assuming there's no corruption here, which I heard someone say that they fixed the replay, so maybe there isn't any corruption here. general for Madness is actually running up into the line now. Trying to take out these little chunks. Speaking of chunks, there's a big one right here on the right flank of Madness, and one right in the middle. So it's looking like Madness is going to pull this one out, barring some very major developments, like a Yari Samurai coming in from the rear. Or the general dying, who's at 4 men. Big mistake, I think, there by Madness and getting careless with his general, and there he goes. He just routed. He's not dead, though. He's right there. Will he get killed? If he dies, it's going to be a big morale penalty. So just kind of spinning around, flailing a sword. Oh, and look at that. They're just breaking all over the place now that the general's off the field. Not good at all for Madness, but it's still fairly even. Ooh, but without the general, there's just not much chance of this happening. Matchlocks are setting up as well. Looks like, oh, Madness had a... I think he was in a good position, but it's going to end up crumbling because he lost his general. It's one thing I actually did like about this game, the general mechanics. A lot of people complain about it early on, but I think they came to like it, like I do. Great Guard may be getting a little distracted and just chasing off bow cavalry. Not where you want your Great Guard right now. They need to be in the infantry battle, winning with what's left of your force. Katana Samurai are shaking right here. The morale is still okay. Katana Samurai and Naginata monks are hanging around, but that might be a symptom of corruption. I mean, I would bet on it being the reason that they're just standing there outside of the fight. As there aren't that many units to Micah right now, I find it hard to believe that he would be forgetting about him in this stage of the battle. General finally going to stand and fight for Ta, but it's going to be pretty much over. Where's his Great Guard? Great Guard getting stuck on the matchlocks. Maybe they're going to try and shoot, despite this little cavalry battle. Yes, they are shooting, actually, despite the cavalry battle going on right behind them. It's pretty brave for an Ashigaru to be shooting into a battle far away when there's one right next to him. Samurai are actually doing quite well, at least of holding their ground, but that general has 25 men in its unit and in no danger of shattering. And the last of Madness's forces are starting to waver. Will they be able to hold? Or will they go down? A Katana Samurai and a Naginata monk are all that's left for Madness here in the middle. Yep, there was corruption because there's the end of the battle. That's how as a player conceding defeat, but I don't think you would concede defeat when it's still up in the air. I mean, it's not decided with the Great Guard being left, but very close. I do believe there's plenty of corruption. That unit's probably corrupt too. And these two. But a great match. Very close. Madness just made a little bit of a mistake in his organization, but it ended up not biting him as hard as it maybe should have, but I'll talk about that on the main menu. See you there. And there it is, though. Ta taking the sweep of the series 2-0, sending Madness down to the losers bracket. I was really looking forward to that matchup, as I thought that the Huma Madness series was the most exciting one in round 1, so decided to see him and Ta being seemingly one of the favorites, and it didn't end up disappointing. That was a good match, especially that second game was very close. I think that Ta was actually a little bit, maybe a little flustered, maybe a little intimidated, maybe just wasn't sure how to deal with that big infantry box, and couldn't use his cavalry very much effectiveness at all. So I think if Madness had been a little bit tighter in his infantry approach and emerged in one big block like the face of a hammer and just smashed into into Ta, he could have probably pulled that one out, especially seeing how close it was. Maybe if like a Great Guard had slipped around and gotten a big charge off, could have been very different, but it's all hindsight now, as Ta is moving on in the winners bracket. I'll see you all in the next match. Thanks for watching.